Welcome back to another Under Pressure. Today we are looking at the Seneca Eagle Claw. This is a very powerful PCP. It's a repeater and it's a lever action, which is one of my favorite things about it. There are too few lever action rifles on the market, in my opinion. Now, it comes in two different versions. Here we have the full rifle, which is 45.5 inches long and a little over 8.5 pounds. There's also a carbine version that's 4 inches shorter and about a pound lighter. Now, many of you are familiar with the Seneca Sumatra. This is kind of like an upgraded, newer version of it. It's got a lot of different, a lot of things in common, but a lot of things different also. The lever action is smoother. You can actually, actuate it really nice and, nice and smoothly and still stay pretty much on target. We've also got a shrouded barrel here, so it takes down the report quite a bit. Now you get this beautiful walnut stock. I mean, this really is, for this price range for any price range, really, that's a beautiful walnut stock. You've got a schnabel at the front, which I really like. It gives you somewhere to rest your hand, and it just adds a little bit of elegance to it. One of the interesting features about this gun is that we have a power adjuster. Now, this doesn't adjust the transfer port or the hammer spring, which are the two most common ways of adjusting the power, but it actually influences how far the valve is let open. So you can turn it all the way here to low, and it'll keep that valve from opening very far at all. Or you can turn it up all the way to high and really let it rip. I will point out, though, that most of the adjustment is towards the end of the wheel here. So kind of on the low end, it'll drop it down all the way to like 275 feet per second with an 18 grain pellet. And just by moving it a little bit, we can get, maybe right about there, we're up to over 1,000 feet per second. On max power, it'll get about 1,040, 1,050 feet per second with an 18 grain pellet. So really smoking. And of course, you put in a 25.39 grain JSB pellet, and you're getting a ton of power out of this. It'll put out over 50 foot-pounds of energy in 22. Now, this also comes in 25 caliber, both in the full rifle version and the carbine version. And in the long version, you're getting over, about 75 foot-pounds of energy in 25 caliber. This is the 22 version, and we topped it about 51 foot-pounds. Now, to put that into perspective, a lot of 25 caliber rifles are not putting out that much energy. So this really is a powerhouse of an air gun, and that's kind of what the Seneca line is known for. The Sumatra, coming before that and still available, it was also a real powerhouse. So let's take a look at a few of the features here. Of course, we got the lever action. Really, nice and smooth. I can actuate it and still stay on target. I can decock the gun if I want to, and it just feels really, really good. This is a really smooth, one of the best lever actions that I've tried. You can also see that we've got a cross-bolt style safety here that you can just push in and take off safety, flip back on. The trigger is a two-stage adjustable trigger. The adjustment screw, I don't know if you can see that in there, is right in the base of it here. Really easy to adjust, but I did find that if I adjusted it really much lower at all, then it started failing the mallet test, which is, when you adjust a trigger, you want to make sure it's still safe, and so you hit the end with a mallet. This is a nice rubberized butt pad, so you can actually just, kind of drop it on the ground and bounce it and make sure it doesn't go off. It did start going off as soon as I adjusted that much at all, so you can probably go a little heavier. You can't really go much lighter on the trigger the way it is, but we'll do the testing and figure out what it's breaking at. But it's a pretty, decent trigger, a good hunting trigger. Now, the magazine in 22 caliber holds 10 rounds, and in 25 caliber it holds 8 rounds. And I like this design of the magazine because you just, you turn it and it clicks and it holds itself in place. So it's not the pellet holding the spring back, but the pellet can be completely just centered and pushed through without any lateral pressure. So you drop in a pellet. The curious thing about this is you have to do it in skirt first for each one. So you drop the pellet in skirt first, turn the carriage, drop in another one, and do that 8 or 10 times and until you're filled up. And then just pop it in from the right or from the left. You've got a little screw here that you can turn to the other side. That's what stops the magazine. You can put it on the other side if you want to load from the left. Right now, from out of the box, it comes set to load from the right, which is, I think, the way most people will want that. The nice thing about the magazine is you can store it on the gun while it's empty, which is different from some of the Marauder style magazines. Now the rail on top is Weaver Picatinny, very convenient. I really like the fact that we've got a Foster fitting on the end. It makes you just pop off this cap, you hook up your hose, easy peasy. You don't have to keep track of any fill probes, which is the bane of my existence, trying to find a fill probe when I need it. So the thing about this gun, though, is that this check valve here can be a little finicky. You need to be able to bleed the air off really quickly. Now, if you've got the Air Venturi tanks, they don't bleed extremely quickly. So the best thing to do is actually hold the gun down like this when you're filling it up and when you bleed that off, and you should be fine. For some reason, that valve works better when it's upside down like this. Don't ask me why, but that's my experience. You may not have an issue, but if you do, that's what you should try. I think that that's enough talking. Let's go to the range. We're going to test it for accuracy with a couple of different pellets. We'll get you the chronograph readings, show a full shot string, and we'll also do the sound testing. For the chronograph testing, I'm shooting the JSB Heavies. They're an 18.13 grain pellet. I've got the power wheel turned down. On full power, it's shooting them about 1,050 feet per second. Now that's faster than I want, that's faster than you need, so I've got it where they're going to be in the kind of 880 to 900 range, I think. I'll show you where we're at on the power wheel. Curious thing about this is that you get most of your adjustment on the low end. So I'll show you where we're at right now. If I move to the right, one click, I'm on this red dot. And this is almost, you can see if I turn it to the right there, I go to the low. So this is almost to the end of my adjustment. See that green dot at the end where it won't move anymore is the absolute lowest power. So I'm back here, shooting about 880, 900, but I have all of this room to adjust here. Like I say, here we're about 1050 with the 18s, and it stays that way through the majority of this turn until I start getting down here, and then it starts dropping down. So again, almost to the very end, but that's kind of the curious part of this adjustment, is that it takes place mostly at the end of the wheel here. And that's where we're at. So we'll go ahead and do a full shot string. I'm filled up to 200 bar, and we'll see how many shots we get and how consistent they are. The high with the JSB 18s was 901. The low was 857 for an extreme spread of 44 feet per second and an average of 881.5 feet per second. Now at 881 feet per second, we're getting 31 foot-pounds of energy. We've got a standard deviation of 11.2, and we could, of course, bump the power up and shoot the heavier pellets, so you have a wide range of things you can do with it here. In our narrow enclosed range, with shooting the JSB 18.13s on high power, the highest rating that we got was 94.5. Putting this on the higher end of backyard friendly. If you're shooting at max power, you can dial the power wheel down and it'll be quite a bit quieter. First up for the accuracy testing, we've got the JSB 18.13s here. I've got a magazine full of 10 pellets, and we're going to shoot them at 35 yards and see how they do. Yep. And that's 10 plus 1. I've got 10 JSB redesigned monsters loaded up. They're 25.39 grain pellet. They're perfect for this gun because they're really heavy and this gun's really powerful. It puts out a lot of foot-pounds and will get you a lot of carrying, a lot of range and so forth. So I'm going to bump up the power wheel a little bit, just kind of guessing right now, and we'll see where we're at. But again, target's down at 35 yards. And there's 10. Okay, let's take a look at the targets here. With the JSB 18.13s, put 10 of them in a pretty nice round little group here. A couple of them went a little high opening up the group, but overall we had 10 of them in a ½ inch at 35 yards. So definitely minute of squirrel, and it's a minute of squirrel out to probably 50, 60, maybe 70 yards even. So, plenty of accuracy with this. We also shot the 25.39s, the redesigned monsters here, and again got a ½ inch group, nice and tight here, straight, stretched out a little bit, but again, ½ inch, really good accuracy. We did try the FX hybrid slugs in it. In this gun, it didn't seem to like them, but you should definitely try it out and see what your findings are. Let's go ahead now and do the trigger test. £3, 5.1 ounces. £3, 7.3 ounces. £3, 12.1 ounces, for an average of 3 pounds, 8 ounces. Now you can get this a little bit lower, but once you get below 3 pounds, like I say, it starts, failing the mallet test. So whenever you're adjusting the triggers, always do that. Make sure you stay safe. So all in all, we have a really nice rifle here that's going to give you a ton of power, plenty of accuracy. This is designed to be a powerful hunting gun, and if that's what you're looking for, then this is going to be a great option for you. I like the fact that it's moderated, I like Foster fitting. I love the lever action. The magazine works really well. I love the looks of it. If there's anything I don't like, it's the trigger that I would like to be able to take, maybe down to 2 pounds. It's kind of, 2.5 pounds is kind of where I like, triggers to be for hunting guns, and of course you can go a little bit lower. The fiddliness of filling it up is another thing that I wish, it's obviously tilt the gun up and you're fine, but again, I'd like to see that improved. The last thing is that for me, this comb is a bit low. Now I like a really high cheek, so some of you may not have that issue at all. It is ambidextrous, which I failed to point out earlier. It's raised on this side, but it's smooth on this side, so left-handed shooters won't have any problem. And of course, with the action being a lever action, that's completely ambidextrous also. You've got a nice comfortable rubber butt pad, helps it stay really well in your shoulder. You can also use these little cutouts for pellet storage if you want to throw some in here just so you never get caught empty-handed. The big holes hold 25 just perfectly, and the small ones will hold 22 caliber pellets. And that's about it. If you are looking for a powerful gun for hunting that has the slim, classic look of a traditional sporter, then this might be a great option for you. Now, if you've liked this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave any comments or questions you have in the section below. We try to answer all of those and get back to you that way. And also check us out on all of our other social media platforms. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.